order. I'm calling to order the special call board meeting of November 2nd, 2017. And before we adopt the agenda, I'd like us to just stand for a moment of silence, because I need that, and then do the Pledge of Allegiance. Join us for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Question.
We have a motion to accept the agenda and a second. And Reverend Mack has a question.
Before we adopt the agenda, can we go into executive session?
Okay, so do you,
Can we do that if it's not on there?
That's the question
so
I'm asking.
Natalie,
Okay.
If it's an important matter, you can do it.
Natalie,
Yeah,
can we go into executive session if executive session isn't on the agenda? If it's,
something, ooh,
if it's to ask a legal related question about the decision we're gonna make?
yeah, you can.
Okay, so can we adopt the
Okay, so,
agenda?
yes, with executive session going immediately after this,
Okay, so we have
before public comments.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda, including going into an executive session. So let's, we're approving the agenda. Mr. Hollenshed?
Aye.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Reverend Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Aye. Mr. Staub?
Yes.
Reverend Mack?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so we're going to go into executive session and we'll be right back. Right, we're back into open session. Public comments, Reverend Mack?
Yes, we have one public comment, Mr. Jonathan Thor. Priscilla, are you there?
Hi.
I thought I heard it ring, but go ahead, I'm sorry, we're,
Okay. Hi, my name is Jonathan Thrower, of the Stavey Road, resident of North Charleston. I just want to advocate on behalf of North Charleston High School one more time. I feel like when I really sat down and I looked, circumspectively at everything that was presented, I feel like North Charleston would be the best location. When you start looking at Stall, it seems like Stall is funded. Looks like it's kind of like the most well-oiled machine as far as the schools in North Charleston. So when you start looking at balancing out the equation, Garrett is a countywide trade school, so it's not really an attendance zone school, and it seems like it needs more of a facelift than any of the three local high schools that we have now. When you look at North Charleston, North Charleston is an attendance zone school. I personally believe that it will have the best impact as far as the children in the area, the demographics. I believe that, if we can invest in North Charleston, that will help bring some of the morale back. It will help with the teacher shortages. By speaking to several individuals, it seemed like, it would be easier to have the students, the teachers, come back and forth as far as trying to help fill a lot of shortages that North Charleston currently has. And just hearing how the formula goes as far as, trying to zone Garrett High School and you only have 500 children here, 500 children there, that's not really going to solve any of our teacher shortages. The problems will still persist, and running a high school with, two high schools with, 500 children is not economically sound as far as trying to provide some sort of quality education for children. So with that being said, when I sit back and I listen to all of the arguments, logically, taking out any emotion and, how I want to save the school or whatever the case may be, when I sat back and I started listening to it logically, it makes too much sense to put the CAS at North Charleston High School. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the North Charleston CAS at the North Charleston High School.
Okay, so we have a motion to,
Wait a minute, you gotta see the recommendation from the committee first. Yeah, getting at the committee
All right,
recommendation.
well, we have a motion on the floor, so we
Well,
can,
he's out of order though. The committee recommendation comes first.
well,
Then he makes a motion after that.
It's for action after.
right.
Yes.
So, I
You
mean,
say
you
the
can-
board will receive information from the
Okay.
North Charleston CS Advisory Committee.
All right.
Okay.
So we have a
That's fine.
second. All right, we have a second.
And also have a friendly amendment to that motion as well.
Okay.
So,
So I'm gonna give you
I would
the,
like folks to point out that the public is calling in, so speak clearly. I'm on.
Okay.
This is Priscilla.
okay, Priscilla, all right. So we have a motion from Todd to approve the North Charleston CAS at North Charleston High School. And we have a second from Chris Dobbs, and then Eric has a friendly amendment, and then Reverend Collins he'll give us the recommendation from the committee. So what was your friendly amendment?
If Todd will accept this amendment that Garrett remains open at the completion of the CAS as a school of choice in North Charleston.
Can I make a suggestion?
What is the suggestion?
Well, my
I.e. a early college middle school. So,
Okay. So at not designating the use, but that the,
I mean, if you want that, but.
because it doesn't make any sense to build a CAS and then keep one open
No.
7
but
blocks
listen,
down the road.
That's why I wanted to go, that's why I wanted to be more specific. But let me go back. I said to remain open at the completion of the CAS. The CAS is scheduled to be completed August 2020. In between that time frame, that Garrett be converted into another school of choice for the North Charleston area. That school may be a middle school, maybe an early college middle school, whatever is needed in that particular area.
Don't say of choice, though.
Like a magnet school, or are you
No,
using
no,
choice
no.
like you're saying that you don't want the facility to be transferred or sold off to some developer. You would like for it to be maintained by Charleston County School District to be used as an educational facility at some point in the future. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Take the of choice part out,
Yep.
because that makes it sound like a,
All right, so we'll remove the word choice, but remain as a school in North Charleston.
So to keep the campus as a school
some kind of school, whatever is determined. it's-
Right,
in North Charleston.
yes.
Are you good with that?
Okay, yes, so I move to approve the North Charleston CAS at the North Charleston High School facility while keeping the campus, Garrett campus as a school in North Charleston.
Correct.
Yep.
So that way it leaves it, it's not circumscribed,
something to your
it would be
motion?
this. Okay,
can I add something to your motion?
Well, keeping Garrett campus, would say that was the last part.
Would the area community group that was approved be involved?
that's a specific amount of individuals for something that's 3-4 years down the road.
Yeah, but they're still involved in the community, and they need to have input into what happens in their community.
No, the district would be short-sighted not to do that.
The district will take community input, because those specific people may not be around then. Some of those folks live on like other parts of the county.
So, all right, well, so do you accept that friendly amendment?
Yes, and that the district will seek community input
Okay?
in deciding the use of the campus.
Okay, so, and Chris, do you second? Okay. Okay, so we have a question, and then Reverend Collins can give that report.
Eric, in your version, is that also open to, is the campus also open to be used as swing space as well, or no?
Is what now?
Swing space.
The swing space.
Well, the intent behind that is that, in my mind, that in that motion, that once this CES is completed on the North Charleston High School campus, that Garrett will remain open for business come August 2020 as well as a school, or whatever it may be deemed as is during that time frame. So the door will never close, and will continue in operation for an educational piece.
But
That
I
makes
mean, can I just ask, I mean, would you be okay if we find that there's a need for it to be used as swing space for a couple of years, and then
Or to house a charter school, or, because I see your point, I see what you're trying to do.
Well,
But my question is,
No, that's not my intent.
Is your intent in your amendment to the motion to also allow charter schools to use the facility if they need space, to use that space as swing space, as other schools maybe online or worked on? Because I think that needs to be, in my opinion, that needs to be a little clearer, because your motion doesn't address that. And I wasn't sure if you were thinking about that. That's why I wanted to mention that to you.
Well, I don't want the opportunity to present itself that a charter school moves in, we're not here, 3-4 years down the road, and it becomes to be something completely different from the intent from today. So the answer to your question is no.
Okay, all right.
The motion might need to say that.
All right, so read the motion.
So the motion is to approve the motion of North Charleston Center for Advanced Studies being built on the North Charleston High School campus while keeping the Garrett campus as a school in North Charleston, and the district will seek community input on its use. Okay, so okay with you?
Yes.
Okay with you. All right, so we have a motion. Now Reverend,
Does that cover the conversation we just had? Because the point that he...
Yes,
would have to approve
the
any-
intent
yes.
is that the Garrett campus continuously operate as a CCSD school,
okay, yes.
not a CCSD sponsored charter, not of those. The motion is continuously operate as a CCSD school serving North Charleston.
I just want to make sure we're clear, that we're just not assuming that we are clear.
Right,
on
right,
what-
because the board would have to approve using the school as a charter, for a charter anyway, so that would,
I mean, the desire is,
Okay.
well, yeah, the neighborhood felt
Right.
that it was good to have a school back there. This is a,
Right, let-
certainly.
can we let Reverend Collins give his report from the committee?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I first want to bring to your attention, item number 4. And it was, the committee was formed for the Center for Advanced Studies. It says the board will receive information from North Charleston CS Advisory Committee and vote on a location for the North Charleston Center for Advanced Study. That's all we can do today, nothing else. No other motion can be made on that except for location. You got it spelled out. Not what happens to the future of GAD, or well, a program coming down the road, or early college, or a charter school. It's with black and white.
I'm fine with, it's,
We're voting on one thing
with taking
today.
that off
Oh,
the table, it
completely.
doesn't matter to me.
Okay, well, wait, go ahead, why don't you make your,
No, by Robert's rules, you can amend the motion.
No,
And
it's
you're not bound
Okay.
to not discuss Garrett as part of the motion. That is not Robert's.
all right, hold on,
That's
Reverend
the same
Collins.
way we can
I'm gonna check.
Let's
You
see, sorry about
make
that.
your presentation.
Only because there are things that I wanted to put on the agenda also to do differently. But Dr. Postlethwaite and yourself declared that the board decided that we're voting on one thing only. That was the location for the CS. That's all we can decide today. That's in writing, black and white.
What I suggested to you is you wanted to put on the agenda to continue the committee, and my recommendation was that,
Back to the board.
that come back with the formal recommendation
Right.
at the committee of the whole in November, which
Right.
you can easily
And
do.
we all have to follow by the same rules.
All right, so go ahead
So
and with your report.
So let me say this. First of all, it's finally disheartening that we have our decision made and motion made before the committee reports even presented publicly, that we've already decided what we're going to do. And that's kind of disheartening for the citizens of Charleston County that the CS committee team work didn't matter. This board does what it wants to do regardless. And so I'm disappointed in that. So during the 2 meetings that we discussed at the City Hall, I think it was the 18th of October, there was overwhelming support. The building North Charleston Center for Advanced Studies at the Garrett High School. The tremendous support for it was very little for North Charleston. In fact, there wasn't any support for North Charleston hardly at the first meeting, and 1 or 2 people supported Stall. Then at the second meeting, it was 3 times as many people who wanted the CS at Garrett, 3 times as many as opposed to North Charleston or Stall or any place else. There actually were 9 people that voted to put the CS at Garrett, and 3 for North Charleston and 2 for Garrett. And then later on, I think North Charleston might pick up 1 more person at the end, I think, that may have changed their mind. So the city has spoken, the county has spoken that they want the CS built at Garrett during the 2 meetings that we've had. And there's been some discussion that some people have been told that if the CS doesn't come to North Charleston High School, that school will be closed down. And that's just not true. Just to put fear in the hearts of people. Others have been told that Garrett would be closed down. When the referendum was written, it wasn't written based on or hinged on Garrett being open or closed. It wasn't based on whether North Charleston football field is used or rebuilt. It wasn't based on any of these things.
Madam Chair, can we just look at the committee report, please?
The referendum was written that we would
Reverend
build a Center for Black Studies in North
Report on
Charleston.
the committee report. You're reporting on how you feel, which I totally understand, but report on the committee report.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to take a moment of what I call executive privilege. So we get, and this is part of the committee report, that we received input twice, we voted, and before the vote is made today, the board already has a motion that is contrary to the committee.
Right, you said that
And so
already once.
but thank you, and please give the respect. So therefore, Todd made the motion that we would go forward and proceed at North Charleston High School property, which is not what the committee voted for. And so I display my displeasure in that's disingenuous, it's dishonest, it's inconsiderate, and it speaks to our character and the very hearts of us board members that are doing this, that we don't stand right with the people, we don't stand for what's right, but we do what we want to do regardless. So here's the committee report. The committee report is that we build North Charleston CS at Garrett, and my motion is that we will build the CS at the Garrett High School. Can I have a second?
Second.
Can I make a comment?
Okay, so we have a motion, two motions on the floor. We have a motion
To be
to,
cognizant of Priscilla's extremely large amount of money she's spending for this meeting.
yep, where is it?
That's irrelevant.
Okay, so we have it's not irrelevant, Reverend Collins. Okay, so Reverend Collins made a motion to put the CAS at Garrett. Michael seconded. And Chris, you have a question?
All right, so I just want to make a comment that 7 of us were at the meeting yesterday, so the idea that it was that we're acting in a vacuum is not exactly true. Secondly, when I heard the 3 board members who were in attendance vote last night, I heard 1 vote for North Charleston, 1 vote for Garrett, and 1 vote for either Garrett or North Charleston. So I'm not sure it's fair to say that it's a decision. I, like some others, would love to find a solution that kept it at Garrett, because I've made some friends throughout this process that I would love to be able to help out, but having weighed all the options, that's where I am.
Now, speaking on the motion that was presented, second part, the same way we involve the community in other major decisions in Mount Pleasant, West Ashley, for us getting into the purpose of Garrett and the future of Garrett, that also needs to be addressed and set aside time and vetted through properly. Not to hastily make a decision. A decision doesn't affect us one bit. It affects those of us that live in North Charleston and part of the county too that send kids there. It's our decision to make.
Reverend Collins, that's why I made the friendly amendment to the motion so that Garrett will not die in the process. I mean, that was the purpose of it.
I understand your intent, sir. It's just that it's hard for me to accept it without proper input and really vetting through Garrett alone and what the future of Garrett will be. Today is just a location only, what the agenda says. But I do respect what you're saying.
So, Natalie?
Yes.
So, we have we have 2 motions. We have Reverend Collins' motion to build the CAS at Garrett, and then we have Todd's motion that's been amended that says approve the North Charleston CAS at North Charleston High School while keeping the Garrett campus as a school. The district will seek community input on its use. And Reverend Collins is saying that we can't vote on the piece about Garrett, but my interpretation of Robert's Rules of Order is that we can. So can you let us know what?
Yeah, according to the rules, there can always be amendments added to the motion, as long as it's relevant to the conversation and the topic that's on the agenda. And from my standpoint, this appears to be relevant.
Okay.
Natalie, let me say
Madam
this.
Chair, can we call the question, please?
Natalie, when you I have a look at question. the agenda, hold on.
No,
Natalie,
the question
you
was
can
called.
vote for it. Natalie, when you look at the agenda and you see the writing is clear, that it says location only. The writing says, and vote only location for the North Charleston Center for Advanced Studies. That's the only thing we should be voting for.
Madam Chair, can
Not,
we
not,
vote on
not
the
Garrett
question?
itself. Garrett's not on the
The
agenda.
question's been called.
We've gotten a legal advice, and I asked if we could call the
Okay, we
question.
call the question. Okay, so we need to vote on Reverend Collins's motion.
No, you vote on the
Sorry,
motion in the order
sorry.
presented.
Sorry, I'm voting on, my bad, voting, I have them written that way. Voting on,
Todd's motion, right?
well,
Yes.
let me see.
Okay, Todd. Who seconded Todd's motion? Chris?
So Chris seconded Todd's motion, and Eric made a friendly amendment, and Todd and Chris approved of a friendly amendment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the CAS at North Charleston High School, and while keeping the Garrett campus as a school, the district will seek community input on its use. Mr. Hollenshed, how do you vote?
Come back to me.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Reverend Collins?
No.
I'm on.
Ms. Jeffrey, we're voting on having the North Charleston CAS at North Charleston High School while keeping Garrett open as a school. How do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
No.
Mr. Stobbs?
And we understand North Charleston High School meaning behind Centrio, right?
Yes,
Okay.
across, yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Hollenshed?
Yes.
Reverend Mack?
Yes.
And I vote yes, and the motion passes. Thanks, Priscilla, for calling
Bye.
from Africa. Goodbye.
Aye.
Okay, so,
Still do another
So,
motion?
Madam Chair, that makes the second motion dead.
No, it
And
doesn't. No,
I
it does not.
make a motion that we
It is
end the
difficult to
meeting.
vote on it still.
so Natalie, since you're on the phone,
I'm here.
does that make our second motion dead? It's moved.
Yeah, but, I mean, unless somebody from the non-prevailing side wanted to make a motion for reconsideration, but
That's right, that's right.
it
Okay.
appears that the second motion is dead.
Okay,
That's right. yeah.
all right. So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Move to
Moved.
adjourn.
Second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for everybody on the phone.